Hello everyone. Thank you for registering for our webinar on GST implications in online gaming. We have Rajat sir today to speak on this technical session. And thank you for the overwhelming response. To be really honest, we were not expecting such a great response this time. Now I'd like to introduce Mr. Rajat Mohan, who is a chartered accountant by qualification. He started his GST career in the year 2010 when he was among one of the very few persons in India who took GST as a career. He has worked on GST implementation and transition for various multinational corporations and big Indian business houses. He has also authored more than half a dozen books on indirect taxes for publishers like Tax Sutra and Walter Kluwer's and Bharat Law House. He has recently worked with quite a few gaming companies, leading to sectoral expertise on this subject. This has paved the way for us to finalize this topic for you all. Hope this session would benefit you all. Thank you so much. Just let us know if you can hear our voices properly, and Rajat sir can take the session forward now.
Perfect. ठीक है साक्षी, you can hear me now loud
Yeah,
and
yeah,
clear.
I can. The attendees can just write it in on the chat box whether we're audible to you or there's a problem. I think it's
Perfect, thanks.
all good. It's all audible. I think you
Perfect.
can begin the session, sir.
I'll begin the session. Thank you so much. A very, very good evening to all of you. So my name is Rajat Mohan, and I hope you all are safe at home and thriving. And this webinar we have, this webinar we have planned especially for online gaming companies in and around GST, because we feel there are a lot of issues specifically in online gaming companies. And this session we have planned for 60 minutes. In the next 60 minutes, our target is to cover a lot of topics which prima facie are written here: introduction, indirect taxes implication in India, GST basics, transaction wise GST impact, bonus promotions, key sources of income, what happens, GST council, group of ministers, and the last part is our bit. And this we have 60 minutes, slides are 49. I'm very sure that we'll not be able to cover all the slides, so we have prima facie divided the whole presentation into two parts. One would be a little basic kind of a stuff, supply, evaluation, etc., which we probably will cover in 10 to 15 minutes and run it through, because this being a very sectoral presentation, I hope you all know this. And then probably we'll come to the sector specific issues, which will be very slow and which will discuss in detail over each and every slides. I'll request everyone to put the questions in the chat box. After 60 minutes at around 7 p.m. we'll take almost all the questions one by one.
Also,
So
if you
hmm,
just a second, so also everyone who wants to access the firm's profile and wants to know a little more about Rajat sir and Masters India, you guys can download. There's a handout session on the right hand side of the chat box, and you can download that so that you guys know who is the speaker and who are we. And yeah, so I think you can
perfect.
start the
So
session.
at the end of the session, we'll also provide you a lot of stuff with regard to presentation and maybe some Word documents also. After we complete the presentation, we'll provide those documents also.
Yeah.
So, prima facie, brief history about online gaming. So, 1914, some Dr. Edward Huller started this online gaming, or he invented the first gaming machine. Worldwide boom came in online gaming in year 1990s. And in Indian laws, it's very important to understand that prima facie, we as a country in India differentiate between game of skill and game of chance. There are two different set of games. One is a pure game of chance and one is a game of skill. Offering money in the games of chance, whenever we bet, you and me, we bet for a game of chance and I offer you some money, this is prohibited in India, and these are considered to be criminal offenses under Public Gambling Act and the Prize Competition Act 1955. However, under the games of skill, this is treated differently and this is permitted. States, so prima facie, this betting and gambling is a state subject. Entry 34 list 22 has written betting and gambling, whereby this is a state list. Thereby, every state has their own piece of legislation. Some has allowed gambling, some has not allowed gambling. Entry 62 states taxes on luxuries, which include taxes on betting and gambling. So this entry is the pre-GST entry after 2016. I suppose 101 constitutional GST amendment bill was introduced in Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha. This entry was changed. So I'm just talking about history thereby. Entry number 62 pertains to levy of taxes on betting and gambling. So we have collected a lot of data, how many people play games, and average a person 42 minutes per day spends upon mobile games. So this is the data with regard to breakup of how it has evolved, how online gaming has evolved, and what are the educational statistics. So around 39 people playing online gaming are postgrads, professionals, and around 34% people playing games are from mid to junior management executives. Senior management around 8% play games. So these are the data which we have collected from online. Number of online gamers. So 2018 to 2020, these are the number of gamers which has increased, and this prima facie, I believe, is the sector has blasted since 2020. The moment we had COVID, there are very small companies with regard to online gaming, playing rummy and playing cards online. Those have erupted since 2020. So the reason was pandemic played beneficial for them. A lot of people sitting at home started playing games. So you will see in year 22 they are expecting around 510 million people playing these games. Regulatory bodies in India, prima facie, this as of now is not regulated. We don't have a regulator. However, there are three major bodies. Those again self-regulated: FIFS, TORF, which is primarily related to Rummy games, and All India Gaming Federation. And in 2021, Niti Aayog has come up with a detailed document guiding the principle for the uniform national level of online game fantasy sports platform. So anyone interested in legal aspect can go and just check these documents. Now moving towards what are the revenue models. Prima facie 4 to 5 revenue models are seen in these companies. First of all, shareware, freemium, and then advertising, of course. And there are certain games whereby you give a particular game free to play. However, there are upgrades in which it is to be paid. And the fourth, the outermost blue part, which says platform fees. So platform fees is very important for us, and we will be discussing these. Yes, now coming to the indirect tax implications on these online gaming companies. So pre-GST, what happened? So pre-GST, there were two, I'll say, divided into two parts. One is a lottery betting and gambling, and another is a game of skill. As we have already discussed, this betting and gambling was given to a state. So this was a state subject on which central government cannot have a legislation. Thereby, there was no service tax charge per se on betting and gambling. This was under the state regime, and state governments used to formulate certain mechanism in the legislation to put it to the tax. If there is a game of skill, then it was, of course, the game of skills were chargeable to service tax. Now, in pre-GST regime, you have understood there is a game of skill and there is a game of chance, or we say betting and gambling. So this resulted into people or companies fighting in court as to what is a game of skill and what is a game of chance. So these are three landmark judgments in case of Lakshman versus State of Tamil Nadu in 1996. What they have said is horse racing is a game of skill. It is not a game of chance. So racing, horse races, when we bet on horse races, this is a game of skill because it is important for us to understand the quality of jockey, the training that a jockey has gone, the training that a horse has gone. So if so this case law states if they are equally trained two horses, but one jockey is more experienced and another jockey is less experienced, then the more experienced jockey will win the game. When more experienced jockey will win the game, as a better, it is important for me to identify which is a better jockey or which is a better horse. So it becomes a game of a skill. So horse racing, they said, is a game of skill and not a game of chance. State of Andhra has another judgment, 1968 judgment, which said the rummy is a game not entirely of chance, like a three card game. It includes a lot of skill also. So there's a mixed kind of a thing, game of skill as well as a game of chance. Thereby, this Supreme Court in this case said it will be considered as a game of skill because you have to remember the fall of cards. The moment a card is given out, you have to remember it becomes a game of skill. So in this case, it was said that rummy is a game of skill. So the third case which I have covered is commonly, known as Dream 11 case. In this case, 2020 judgment, and it was given by Rajasthan High Court. It said, Dream 11. So people understand in case of Dream 11, what happens is there is a cricket match going or there is a football match going. Me as a better will select my bowling team, will select my batting team. I'll collect 11 people and they will play. So they said that this mere selection process is not a game of a chance, is it is a game of skill also, because I have to identify each and every person what he will score, whether he can take wickets or not. Thereby they said it is not a game of a chance, it is again a game of a skill, because selection you have to apply your brain. Again a game of a skill. So this is what we have discussed pre GST regime. Now we are entering into our main phase of GST regime. What does my topic is GST on for online gaming companies. So let us understand what does my GST for online gaming companies state. And prima facie, so first of all we'll deal basics and then we'll enter into very specific aspects and the specific issues. So prima facie, there are five major points that are to be discussed while you understand the GST implication. First is supply, whether a particular item is chargeable to GST or not. Second is value of supply. What is the value of supply? At what amount we have to pay GST? Third is time of supply, which is at what time we have to pay GST. Fourth is place of supply. GST is a destination based law, right? So it is important to understand where is the tax required to be paid. And the last part, fifth and last part is what is the tax rate, right? So these are five important aspects that we have to deal with. So going first one by one. So definition of supply is very wide. It includes everything sale, barter, transaction for a consideration in the course of business or commerce. So it's very wide. Of course, online gaming companies will fall into this. Next is value of supply. At what value GST needs to be paid? So GST is very clear. Per se section 15 says GST needs to be paid on the transaction value, the value with the price which is actually paid or payable, which is always the price which you have charged. The problem that now I have introduced one problem with regard to online gaming companies. There is a one rule which has been formulated on this issue. Rule 31A, which says the value of supply in case of betting, gambling, and horse racing shall be 100% of the face value of the bet or the amount paid into the totalizer. So if you and me are playing, you are gambling, lottery betting or gambling, we are gambling, and I pay 100 rupees in a kitty, you also pay 100 rupees in a kitty, then GST will be applicable on the entire amount that is paid or as a bet. So 100 rupees I have to pay GST, 100 rupees you have to pay GST. Even if at the end of the game, you or me win a 200 rupees and the person who is arranging all this, we pay a mere 20 rupees. That is a 10% value. So the company that is arranging the entire game is required to pay GST on the total value, on the gross value. Rule 31A. So since 2017, people don't generally like this. I'll tell you about practically what has happened. A lot of casinos and these gambling guys are not paying the GST on a gross basis, because of which in Goa I heard a lot of search and seizures were conducted in 2017 and 2018 prima facie because they were against these GST rules. Very recently, 2021, this Karnataka High Court has come up with a case law on Bangalore Turf Club. This, I suppose, is a race course only, whereby they have declared that Rule 31A is void ab initio, is ultra vires the provisions of GST law, because they say prima facie the reason is GST is a value added tax and GST is to be paid on the amount retained or only among the consideration. GST cannot be paid on the total amount. So this Bangalore Turf in 2021 has, for the first time, very recent judgment. I suppose this judgment came in last 15 to 20 days only, and which said the GST is not required to be charged on the total VAT value, but is to be charged only on the amount retained by such company, which could be the total bet value minus the amount paid to the people who have won the game, and the amount retained as a platform fees, or arranging the facility fees is to be charged. Thereby they said this rule 31A sub rule 3 is ultra aware is the provisions of the GST law. Very, very important judgment for every company who is dealing with this. Guys, time of supply, the normal provisions are very clear. In case the invoice has been, so time of supply means when is tax required to be paid. In case you have issued a tax invoice, then the issuance of tax invoice is the date of time of supply, and you need to pay taxes in accordance with time of supply will be issuance of an invoice or date of receipt, whichever is earlier. So prima facie, I understand in this industry you are not getting an advance payment, so it's generally the date of invoice. In case you have issued a tax invoice and you have issued a tax invoice and you have issued a tax invoice and you have issued a tax invoice
So your voice is not audible at all. So can you hear us right now? So we can't hear your voice. I hope. I think you can rejoin the session. Um, can you guys hear my voice? Is it audible for you? Okay, sure, sure. I just asked. I just had a word with Rajat sir. He's rejoining the session. Just be patient. He'll just be coming back in another 2 minutes. He's going to rejoin. Just give him 2 minutes. I think there's a network problem. He's just going to rejoin. I've spoken to him. I've had a word with him. You guys can keep, putting your questions across, and I'll be highlighting those questions at the end of the session. Uh, yes, Anubhav, you will be getting the recording. It will be made available by tomorrow, probably, or by day after tomorrow on our YouTube channel. You can also, I mean, you can also follow us on LinkedIn. We keep updating whatever goes live on our YouTube and otherwise. Yeah, we have a YouTube channel, Harsh. Um, just follow us on our LinkedIn, and we'll be sharing it. Yeah, Deepa, we will be providing you with a PPT at the end of the session. Since the PPT is huge and we're planning to divide the session into two parts, so we've decided to share the PPT till the extent Rajat sir is able to cover. So we'll be providing the PPT at the end of the session. I think Rajat sir is having a network issue. Just let me speak with him, and we'll get back to you. Hi, Pritesh. Sir, will answer your questions, Pritesh. Just just give us 2 minutes. We're figuring out what the issue is. I think there's some problem with Rajat sir's network.
Sakshi, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, sir. I can hear you, and everyone can
Can
hear.
you hear me, guys, now?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're audible, sir. Now I think we can. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you can come live also, so that we able to see your faces. So I think. Hi, sir. We cannot hear you right now. Can you please speak so that we can be sure that you're here? So actually, there's some connectivity issue on Rajat sir's end. We're trying to fix it. Just be patient. We'll just. I think he'll be live in another 2 minutes. We're coordinating with his team right now.
नहीं यार, मैं तो अपने मोबाइल से कर रहा हूँ कनेक्ट, अब उससे नहीं चल। अब आ रही है ना?
हाँ
You
जी,
can
हाँ
hear
जी।
me now?
आप बस वीडियो ऑन कर लीजिए,
My
इट विल बी
video I
फाइन।
will not start now. Maybe there is some problem with regard to video only. So let me continue session like this.
Okay, I think you can try once if the video works. Otherwise, you can close the video and start.
हाँ, Sakshi, can
Yeah,
you see
yeah.
it now?
Everything is
Is
audible,
the
sir.
voice
Yeah,
is clear?
yeah, yeah.
Right.
Perfectly
Okay.
fine, sir. Okay.
Perfect.
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Okay.
Okay.
So sorry guys. So we'll connect back, and this is an issue only now. I'll have to close my video only.
Yeah, sir. I think it's better that you close the video and continue the
Yeah.
session because
So
there's some problem.
yeah. So time of supply we have covered. Time of supply of services. I suppose we were able to hear that part. Just say yes or
No,
no.
sir. Sir, no, you were.
Okay.
I think
So
you
let
can
me go
speak, but
back one more
yeah,
slide.
yeah. I mean, you stopped midway, so we could not hear you
Okay.
midway. So I think
Okay.
it's
So
better.
let me just.
So there's some network issue again because there's it's showing trying to connect again. Guys, just give us a few minutes. I think there's some problem with the network at Rajat sir's end.
Can I
Deepa
start
ji,
now, Sakshi?
yeah, yeah, sir, you can. I think we can hear you. Deepa,
Perfect.
the PPT will be available at the end of the session, so please be patient enough.
So I suppose my voice is clear now.
Yeah, sir. I think there's
So
some
time of
network.
supply of services we were discussing, in case an invoice has been issued, then the date of issue of invoice is when the GST is required to be paid. And in case an invoice has not been issued, then GST is required to be paid on the completion of the services. So place of supply of services, this is where the services would be rendered. It's important to understand that so ideally the online gaming facility or the gaming services are not given to the people who are registered under GST. These are ideally given to the people who are are individuals and playing this game in their personal capacity. So the services would prima facie will always go to unregistered persons. If the services are going to an unregistered person, then there are two cases. If the address is available on record, then place of supply with the state where the recipient is based out of. In any other cases, then it has to be location of services supplier. So in case, so what I have understood with these online gaming companies, the moment you register with them, they take very detailed information with regard to, uh, your Aadhaar card, your PAN card, your address proof. So they always know the place where you are based out of. So address is always available on record. So It is not difficult to map these and find out the place of supply. So going to the next slide, yes, guys, now the generals are over, the basics are over. Now we go to very, very specific slides. Yeah. And so initial deposit. So in case of online gaming companies, if you go to any online gaming company and start playing a game, what will happen? First of all, you transfer the money from your bank account, from your pocket into a particular wallet, maybe Paytm, maybe Amazon or anything. Is this initial deposit or is this amount transferred to a wallet chargeable to GST or chargeable to tax? First of all, what I believe, these are not chargeable to tax. The initial deposit is only a monetary transaction. This is only so if you transfer money from one bank account to another bank account, is it taxable? No. So it's like a bank account only, whereby it's a monetary transaction first. Second, there is no supply. Under GST, GST is to be charged only in case where there is a supply. If there is no supply, there is no GST. So in this case, there is no supply. When I'm transferring my money from one account to an online account, uh, there is no supply, so there is no GST. Third, if there is no supply, there is no service, there has to be no consideration, because if I have not bought anything, I am not obliged to pay anything for that services. There is no consideration involved. If there is no consideration, there is no GST involved. And the fifth part is actionable claims. So for this, I'll come to again a case law on the next page. Bombay High Court in 2019, Gurdeep Singh Sachar, again a Dream 11 case. So in GST regime, you have to notice that this case was there. And what does this case say? This case said any amount collected from the players pooled in an escrow account is only an actionable claim, as the same is to be distributed among the winning participants as per the outcome of the game. Thereby, online gaming activity does not tantamount to lottery betting and gambling. It is merely an actionable claim. And under GST, actionable claim other than lottery betting and gambling are not chargeable to tax. So important point to be noticed is famous judgment 2019 Dream 11. You have to notice that any amount which is collected from players and pooled in an escrow account. So important point is collected from players, pooled in an escrow account, and then distributed among the winners. It is an actionable claim because this has to be distributed to winners, which is not lottery betting and gambling, thereby no GST applicable on this. This is what the Bombay High Court said. What happened post this, of course, I suppose this commissioner in Bombay and CBIC together filed a case in the Supreme Court of India against this. So Supreme Court of India dismissed this petition, stating that we will not interfere with the Bombay High Court decision. So there were a lot of issues in this judgment. So, however, they said with regard to GST, Union of India is open to apply for a review petition in Bombay High Court only. So they would have filed a review petition, but nothing has come out of the Bombay High Court as of date. So the this judgment still prevails, and if the amount is parked in escrow account, it is treated as an external claim. So so is this initial deposit chargeable to tax? I very clearly so that initial deposit in a wallet or giving to an online gaming company is not chargeable to tax. Very clear. However, there are certain problems, there are certain issues which as a consultant or as a corporate we should take care of it. Those couple of issues are, first of all, we have to prove that the game that we are doing is a game of a skill and not a gambling. Under GST law, gambling is taxable. However, with regard to actionable claim, the exemption is only when the actionable claim is with regard to game of skill. If actionable claim is with regard to a game of gambling, then it will most likely be put to tax. So in case of Dream 11, they first said that this is a game of a skill and this is not a game of a chance. Thereby, this is an actionable claim which is not chargeable to tax. First of all, the important point is that you have to prove that it is a game of a skill. Point number two, escrow account. So Dream 11 very clearly said the amount pooled in an escrow account will not be chargeable to tax. They have not said that all the amounts will not chargeable to tax. What I understand is in this, this 2020-21, many smaller companies have started, these online gaming. They are now into online gaming. They have taken the softwares from international market or developed themselves in India, but they don't they so banks are not allowing them to open an escrow account, or I can say there is a problem in getting a escrow account opened. So there is a degree of risk because they are parking their money into a separate bank account which is not an escrow account, which was not uh, per se, my GST law does not say that escrow account needs to be opened, but the base of all this was the judgment, because my GST law says in case I have betted the amount, rule 31A says that entire amount is to be put to tax. So we can take the benefit of Dream 11, which is a Bombay High Court judgment, but escrow account, I suppose, is very important, and we should not, try and get this opened. Next, what I have seen is people don't open an escrow account because of legal formalities. They are not able to claim. The second point is, can they open a current account and they keep it absolutely separate and does not mix day to day routine transactions in this. It is very important. Whatever money belongs to your players or customers which are is parked in their wallet, please park it separately in a particular account. Ask your auditor, ask your auditing company to certify that this amount is parked in wallet. This amount, it cannot be touched or used by the company for the purposes of their own day-to-day operations. This is very, very important. So third, so if you have not even parked in that separate account, you have parked in the common current account through which all the expenses are made. So I am, all my sympathies to you. You are running a high degree of risk. Any tax officer can come and say that entire bet amount or the entire initial deposit put to be taxed, because you have taken this money and you are using this for the purposes of your business, which was never ever written in the Dream 11 judgment. So you are running a high degree of risk. Guys, fifth point, online gaming is a very new concept, and it is very difficult to make a local tax officer who has already always worked in a VAT regime to understand that this initial deposit is not chargeable to tax. You as a company, you as a consultant will always run that risk that local tax officers cannot understand the whole mechanism of these online gaming companies and the wallets they may put it to tax. Please go to your GSTN portals and see that if you are to be assessed by a local tax officer, state tax officer, the VAT tax officer, then the degree of risk on your company is higher. Having said all this, I still believe initial deposit is very clearly not chargeable to GST, but you have to take care of these 4, 5, 6 points. So next part is platform fees. Very clearly, initial deposit is not chargeable to tax, but I as a platform, I as a company is giving you a platform to play a particular game. Will it be chargeable to GST? Absolutely, answer is yes. So whatever the company charges as a platform fees, it is chargeable to GST at the rate of 18% on the value which I have recovered from you for using my platform. Some companies are using 10%, 15%, 20% as a percentage of bet amount. So if I bet 100 rupees, they recover 10%, which is 10 rupees as a platform fees. So this 10 rupees is chargeable to GST. There are companies who recover a fixed fee of 5 rupees, 10 rupees, 20 rupees. So this fixed fee of 5 rupees, 20 rupees or 10 rupees is chargeable to GST. So there is no confusion with regard to platform fees, right? What happens? So let us try and understand this with the help of an example. If I have put 100 rupees in a cash wallet saying that I want to play this rummy game, but I do not play that game for a particular period of time, and my amount of 100 rupees is forfeited by the company, will this be chargeable to GST or not? So there are provisions under GST with regard to forbearance, tolerance of an act. There are judgment also, AR judgments. I have not put all that here, but it will satisfy all the criterias of supply, consideration, value, tax rate, etc. All the 5 things that we have read, and it will be put to tax. So for feature of player's cash balance is chargeable to GST. There is no doubt about it. So these are all the reasons, where the consideration under which provision, which section I say that these are chargeable under the provisions of supply, where it is taxable. It will be treated as supply of services, and GST would be charged on the amount forfeited. It will be treated as a consideration. So guys, this was easy. Now we move to the a little difficult and a little tricky part. So next couple of slides will of course take 15 to 20 minutes. So bonus. So every online gaming company, in order to attract more customers or more players or to retain the existing players, are giving n number of bonuses, whether it's loyalty bonus, it's a referral bonus, or it's any other bonus. So how these bonuses will be treated? So these are different types of bonus. Let's see how these bonuses will be treated. So bonus, first of all, we have to understand if your bonus is redeemable in cash, meaning thereby, if let us suppose I am a gaming company, I am giving you 100 rupees in your cash wallet that either you can play this game or you may, just make an exit and go home, withdraw this 100 rupees. At the time of giving the bonus, it is not chargeable to GST for the basic, very simple reason. So GST is chargeable on an income. GST is not chargeable on the person who books the expenses. So as a gaming company, I'm booking an expense in my financials. This is an expense for me that I'm giving you something. So when I'm giving you something, I'm booking an expense on which GST is not chargeable. So first thing is very clear. Whenever any amount is given, which is redeemable in cash, which is paid in a cash wallet, it is not chargeable to GST. Point number one. Point number two, if I am giving certain benefits which is not redeemable in cash. First of all, example, let's see scratch vouchers. So I give you a voucher which you scratch and then there is a 10% discount in Amazon, or you get a free burger in McDonald's. On all these kind of a scratch vouchers also, I'm giving you something. I'm spending my amount. I could have paid some amount to Amazon for these benefits. I could have paid some amount to McDonald's for these benefits. So we are not discussing how they will pay the taxes. As an online gaming company, no tax is applicable. This is a mere expense on these scratch vouchers. Third part, which is of course in a gray area, what happens if I pay certain points, if I pay certain bonuses in a wallet, in a play wallet, whereby I tell you that these points or these wallet points are not redeemable in cash unless and until you play. So this is a condition attached to it. So in this case, what will happen is I have given you certain points which as of now holds no value. You cannot redeem this into cash and go back home. And in any ways, I have given you something. Again, there is no income lying on me. Of course, there is no GST. So in short, you can just understand in the event when a bonus is given, there is no GST applicable on all the transactions. But let us understand what will happen once a bonus is given and it is being utilized. So this gray portion, so cash wallet is very easy. There is no doubt in this. Scratch vouchers, very easy, no problem in it because you cannot use these bonus points. The problem that exists in the industry is only with regard to the amount that is lying in the play wallet. So guys, if there is a money that that amount has been given in a play wallet, what will happen? First point, I will play a game or I will not play a game. So let us assume that I want to play a game. If I play a game, then the points or the bonus, which was only a fictitious amount, which never belonged to me, I cannot utilize it to buy any other goods or services on another website, which was mere points lying in my account, that will be converted into cash. So for a very easy, let's understand it for a very easy perspective. I have 100 bonus point which I cannot utilize until I play. I put it in a game and I start playing the game. Now the moment a game, a rummy or something, the cards are laid down or the roulette is rotated, what will happen? Now I have played the game. I am in the process of playing the game. The moment I am in the process of the playing the game, the title of those points now are given to me in the form of a cash. Now they say those points, this is not 100 points, these are converted probably into 100 rupees, and now it belongs to the player of the game, which is you. It does not belong to the company itself. Now what happens? Now these points belong to you. However, you cannot withdraw because the game is being played and the cards are laid down. Whether you lose or you win, if you lose, this belongs to some other person. If you win, then you get not only this 100 rupees, but you get another other 100 rupees also with which the other player is playing. But now it is converted into cash, and now the title is being transferred to you, right? So what happens the moment you play a game, a bonus was given by the company to you, which is now a liability for the company, that it needs to be paid to someone, maybe to you, maybe to someone else. And it becomes an asset for either of the players after the game is over. Now the point is, a company will deduct a 10% per fees on this 100 rupees and the 100 rupees of another player, the total 200 rupees. This 10% fees, which is also known as a platform fees, will it be chargeable to GST or not? Answer is yes, it will be chargeable to GST. Some of the companies are not paying GST on this on the pretext that there was a bonus involved in it, and the bonus is ideally given by the company, which is me itself. So if I am giving certain, I am giving you 100 bonus points. Out of that 100 bonus points, I redeem or I keep 10 bonus points as a platform fees. There is no consideration involved. The consideration is zero. Thereby, there is no GST required to pay. This is entirely wrong. The moment a game is played, first of all, the title of those points are transferred, and that becomes a redeemable amount in cash. So the moment I have charged a platform fees on it, there is a consideration involved on which GST now needs to be paid. So please understand, platform fees recovered on the bonus points which has been played in the game will be chargeable to GST. Let's come to this conclusion. This I very strongly believe. Many companies knowingly or unknowingly are not paying GST on this, which will be a big problem in future to you all of you. Can we save the tax on this amount? Because what happens is prima facie. Now let us come to the next part, whereby we say that I don't want to pay GST on it. Can I plan my taxes? So you cannot plan your taxes, but there are one or two ways available whereby contract can be drafted in such a manner that ideally your platform fees is recovered even before you play the game. So before the title is transferred for that cash amount, the title is retained back by the company. In that case, the element of consideration is removed even before the points have been transferred. So I have not read any contract like that. Is it possible to have a contract like that? Maybe that needs to be discussed with regard with your legal advocates, whether we can draft a contract like that or not. But if platform fees on these points can be retained even before the transfer of title, then there is a probability that tax can be saved. But the way the contracts have been drafted today, it's very clear that it is not. So I have read couple of agreements for couple of companies, and everyone, take that as copy paste while a model pay, everyone is working. So yes, so it becomes difficult to see that tax may not be saved as on date, but in future it might be possible. So next point is, if game is not played. So if a bonus point has been given by me to you, but you don't play the game, those points are forfeited by the company. What will then happen? So in one or two opinions that I have read or I have heard, in case the points are forfeited by the company, still GST needs to be paid. So guys, first of all, we have to distinguish between two things. There are conditional points and there are unconditional points. So conditional point is, look, these points belong to you only when you play the game. So this is a negative statement. So these points does not belong to you if you don't play the game. These are conditional points. So if something does not belong to you, whom does it belong to? It belongs to the company itself, which is me in this case. If something belongs to me, does not belong to you, you have not fulfilled the conditions, I have forfeited. It's not forfeited, I have retained those amounts back with me. It's not chargeable to GST. It cannot be chargeable to GST because something never belonged to you, which I have retained. Part 2, there are some unconditional bonus points whereby there are no conditions attached. I say these points belong to you for eternity. However, you are kindly requested to play the game and utilize the same. So, of course, request word is not used in the agreement, but these are unconditional points. The points belong to you. But you are requested to play the game. So these are unconditional points because on the day one the points belong to you. So guys, this item whereby the bonus points are unconditionally given could be litigated by the department. Of course, there are other consideration also, that there was no consideration involved, there is no cash movement, etc., etc. But there are section 15 is not read required to be read entirely alone, but there are rules, valuation rules involved, which is the market value will be taken, etc. Why to litigate? So the important point is, in this case, the risk of tax could be saved just by suitably amending your the provisions and saying the items in negative and not in positive, pointing out these points are given which are subject to condition. If you don't fulfill the condition, the points are retained by us and not forfeited by us. Minded, my dear friends, every company has a clause with regard to forfeiture of points. I have worked with couple of companies. Even their people working in the company never knew that there is a clause with regard to forfeiture of the points. So this is the problem. If my clause says if you don't play with the money in period of 360 days, it will be forfeited. Then, as per my time of supply, there is a time of supply after 360 days. After 360 days, even if I have actually not forfeited, still I need to pay tax because my contract says I have to forfeit after 360. I have seen companies who have not forfeited for years, actually not forfeited, but their contract says 360 days may it would be forfeited. So your contract will be more important rather than what you have actually done. Otherwise you will kick in another set of litigation. So my dear friends, in case of bonuses that you are giving, because online gaming companies are giving minded huge amount of bonuses, whether it's referral, loyalty, welcome, any number of bonuses, please make all those bonus points conditional, because there is a big amount which is being forfeited after a particular period of time. Normally 1 year to 3 years is what I have seen. Please make them conditional. This will be my biggest advice. So guys, let me go forward. So this bonus point was very important, and let me just, if there is any question with regard to bonus. Guys, you are asking one question, I think, with regard to what happens in case of these services are imported or exported. So in my discussion with couple of companies, everyone have said that every company has different set of rules and regulations, and prima facie, it is very difficult for an Indian company to export these gambling services. These are banned by a lot of lot. So thereby the mechanism in which these companies operate is, so if the website is developed by an Indian entrepreneur, he will lease out or he will rent out the entire website to a person in Japan or in a person in US, and that person will incorporate a US company or a Japanese company, and then start these games being played. As of now, Indian regulations does not allow people from outside India to come to directly market these gambling services in India. Thereby what happens is, again, a Japanese company will sell their website to an Indian entity who will be an Indian entrepreneur, and then he will be performing these gambling or game of scale activities, because the state laws are very stringent. Please mind that taxation of betting and gambling is has now been removed from the state list and brought under GST, which is a cooperative federalism. Again, center and state both will be very important for the same. But the laws, the local laws, what can be betting and gambling, are still with the state. I suppose entry 34 of the list 2 of Constitution of India. So it's very difficult. So I have online gaming, import and export of gambling related apps is not important. So hmm. Sakshi, if there is any question particularly with regard to bonus, then I would like to take it.
Yeah, so Anubhav has asked a question related to bonus. He says he's asking what happens when token given as bonus and user played.
So
and
actually, your
one
voice is
cash.
very low,
Can you hear me now?
but
I
it's
think,
low. Yes, I can hear you. Hmm.
guys, can you hear me? Am I audible to you, all of you? So I think they can hear me. Can you hear me
Okay.
now
So
properly?
Ketan has said no. Some of them have said yes, some have said no. Your voice is low. Anilji has also said your voice is low.
Should I relog in because there are a couple of
What we do is, okay, let's take the questions in last only. We only have 10-15 minutes.
yeah, I
So
think there are a couple of questions actually. There
so
are
we'll do
around
it. So
10 to 15
guys,
questions.
bonus questions are very, very important. And Anubhav, of course, I would like to deal with your question. Absolutely, there's no doubt about it. So let me just complete. So because we have spent a lot of time and energy in pulling out good stuff for you guys. So let me just come to that. So a lot of advertising and free shareware, etc. So tax, there is no problem in this. These are chargeable to 18% and gambling is chargeable to 28%. I'm moving forward. This is not important. What is now important for the entire industry and every one of you guys, GST Council, what does GST Council says? So I'll tell you, since GST Council, I suppose 20th till the recent one, 42, 43, almost over 20 council meetings we have read, and I'll not say we have read, but we have scanned through the agendas and detailed meeting notes for almost every GST council meeting. And on a particular GST council meeting, there are around 500 to 700 pages of agendas and minutes available. After reading 700 or 500 into 20, so my team has pulled out a lot of important stuff for these online gaming companies. So first of all, 35th GST Council meeting, what happened? A lot of representation was given by different council meetings. So please understand there are four main industries which are in a fix over all these mechanism: casino, horse racing, online gaming, and betting. So all these four industries, lot of representation came. 35 General Council meeting accumulated all the representations, and they said what are the problem areas. Problem areas are people are not clear about the tax rate. They said please clarify whether the tax rate is 28% or 18% in all the four scenarios. Number two, with regard to valuation, they say the tax should not be paid on the gross amount which is said by 31A, but the tax should be paid on the value retained by the casino or horse racing or online gaming or betting after paying the winnings. So if I have, as a company, I have collected 1000 crores on a particular game, guys, one more problem that exists with every person. People are computing taxes on a monthly basis because GST needs to be paid on a monthly basis. The law does not say this. The law says tax has to be computed for every transaction. For you, transaction is a particular game. I have seen companies, what they do is in a particular game, they incur a loss, in a particular game, they incur a profit, they set off both the transactions. My dear friends, this is not permitted. As of now, this is not permitted. Yes, we will discuss what does GST Goa says, Maharashtra says. But my dear friends, is all this what you guys are doing or what we as an economy is doing? It's not permitted. You have to pay taxes on a transaction wise manner, which is for a particular game. Every game is a one transaction. You may have millions of transactions in a particular month, does not matter, but every game is one transaction. So what does this representation said? Value retained by casino or club after paying the winning should be chargeable to tax. 37th GST Council meeting agenda. So guys, prima facie, there were three states who has said something in relation to either of the four sectors. So first state is with regard to Gujarat. Gujarat state has said GST, under GST we are losing 500 crores per annum just because GST law has led to an increase in illegal wagering. They have said because you have applied GST on the gross amount, which rule 31A says people have stopped doing a betting in a legal manner, which is in a race course, but outside the race course they have opened small shops and started wagering there. So illegal wagering has started, resulting into loss of GST to the tune of 500 crore rupees. My dear friends, please understand, this is only a GST loss. What about the loss of incomes? What about the incomes that are not chargeable to tax? What would be the quantum? And this may be about only about state of Gujarat. What happens to all of India? So the state of Gujarat said, again Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, and West Bengal agreed to this. State of Gujarat said there are two mechanisms. First mechanism is GST should be paid on the income, which is the value minus the payout. So for a particular game, whatever I have collected, whatever I have paid as a winning, the net amount that I have recovered should be paid on GST. Gujarat said this is internationally accepted. Every country does this. So they said if you don't want to do this, then again come to the deeming fiction clause, 30% of the total bet value. My dear friends, they said especially in case of online gaming, 30% of the bet value would be put to tax. GST policy wing agreed to this. GST policy wing also said 30% of the bet value should be put to tax. TRU, which is the tax research unit of the GST wing, they also agreed to it. That 30% of the taxable value, 30% of the value, bet value, should be put to tax in case of online gaming. And my dear friends, please note the GST rate as required by TRU is 28% plus 115%. Effectively 150% is what the tax rate these guys want for you. This is what the state of Gujarat has, 37 GST council meeting. So Goa, everyone knows that it has a lot of casinos and liquor. So Goa gave us two options. Goa said in case of, so in case of casinos, they said there is always an entry fee. So for an entry fee, I enter into a casino, I charge an entry fee. Please put it to tax on the rate of 100%. In all other cases, in case of casino, they said don't see it transaction wise, don't see it game wise, but see it at the end of the day. At the end of the day, whatever a casino earns or retains should be put to tax. This is what Goa said. This is option one. Option two, they said what the same thing, 100% of the entry fees. And they said in case of betting and gambling, again 30%. So practically telling every state has said 30% of the bet value should be put to tax. Guys, very two important points which you will not find anywhere. Any part of casino chips entry fee separately deposited temporarily in any account like an escrow account for distribution of prize money shall continue to be taxable value. State of Goa said if you have any amount, Dream 11 said put it in escrow. They said even if it is in an escrow, we will put it to tax. They said please clarify it in the rules. So this is not a rule, but they said even if you put it in escrow, we will charge it to tax. Tax rate is again very high, 28% plus 115 is the cess. These are all, guys, these are all recommendations. Important point is you have to understand what does the state of Goa, Maharashtra and everyone wants. So guys, now the most important state for online gaming, Maharashtra. A lot of online gamings are based out of Maharashtra. And in this case, Indian Federation of Sports and Gaming, I was together with the state of Maharashtra in giving the advisory to or what they want to GST Council. Very important point. So they said in case of platform fees, if an online gaming company is charging anything on account of a platform fees, no exemption, please put it to tax. Gross consideration should be put to tax. Second point, no GST is being paid by, so this is what the fact that they have recorded. No GST is being paid by the technology platform on such price pool contribution as it is not a consideration for any service for not not doing it have any right over this amount. So see, they said technology platform that they are pooling in such money as contribution, they are not paying any taxes on this. They said world over prize money in a pool will never be taxed. They said world over this is the scenario for all the online gaming companies. Committee, what does recommended? They recommended gross gaming revenue is the amount which should be put to tax, and it should be the wagered amount or the bet amount minus the winnings that are being returned to the players. अगर आपने कुछ return कर दिया players को, please reduce that and the final amount to tax. My dear friends, please note what does the Maharashtra commissioner said on 15 July 2019. Maharashtra commissioner or Mumbai commissioner on 15 July 2019 categorically said that Dream 11 ruling will result into a loss of close to 1700 crores only for one company, which is Dream 11. Sirf Dream, the loss of Dream 11 ruling applicable to Dream 11 for only one company will be close to 1700 crore rupees. Please think about, if the quantum of tax is so huge and your company is being assessed by a local tax officer, how difficult it will be for a local tax officer to issue a show cause notice, start the adjudication, write it to DGCI or write it to this intelligence wing that there is a tax evasion going, even though there is no tax evasion going, because GST council itself is not clear what needs to be done. Guys, we'll just take 7-8 minutes more because we had to break in between because of some problem at my end. So let me extend this by 5-7 minutes and then come back to some Q&As. Sakshi, in the meanwhile, you can pick up the questions that you need to ask. So 38th GST Council meeting, what happens? 38th GST Council meeting, again, they said casinos, horse trading, and online gaming, the tax needs to be paid by the value which is retained by the online gaming platform and not on the entire value. So GST Council is again with you. The tax needs to be paid only on the net income part or the value retained part, not on the gross value. So, sir, eyeing all these problems, the issues that originated in these three sectors: casino, racehorses, and online gaming, a GOM has been formulated by 24th May 2021, prima facie, to decide on the issues related to valuation of all these services. Whatever issues these companies are facing, they are required to be resolved by this government, a GOM, group of ministers. They will enter into what was the valuation mechanism, what was the administration mechanism, how can we change the administration, does the law itself also need certain amendment, because rule 31A needs to be changed for a better valuation mechanism, right? So guys, please note that this GOM has been formulated only prima facie with regard to valuation and not the tax rate. Tax rate will go to fitment committee and probably they would have decided something. This GOM ideally is formulated only for the valuation of service. They have to submit their report within a period of 6 months. So by the month end of November or December, you will have a report which will be submitted to GST Council for all the online gaming companies, including your federations, associations, and everyone. It is important to make your voice heard. It is important to tell them what is international practice, what needs to be done. If you will, tax a very, very high rate on the bet amount, then probably it will kill the entire industry. If you charge me GST on the entire bet amount, I will not be happy playing on the online mechanism. I'll fall back to those physical modes of playing games, because as a better or as a gambling person, I want to buy play. So you cannot kill the entire online gaming industry, and especially in this digital era, because of the high rate of taxation. Please understand, online gaming companies have a very, very high price elasticity. The moment the price goes up, the demand will come down, at least in short term. So guys, a small presentation, a small one slider, what my team has collated with regard to Malaysia, Malta, and Macau and European Union. Taxes in all these four places, as council has also agreed, that tax is always paid on the gross earnings minus the winnings that has been paid. So GST is chargeable only on the net amount, even in this four. Although in Malaysia GST has been rolled out, but it is important for us what was the provision then. So GST was paid on the bet amount after distribution of winnings. So India cannot have a different set of rules and regulations for the online gaming company in India. So guys, this is from us, and right, I thank my team and everyone from my team. Bharat has helped me, Priyanka has helped me, and I have helped myself in making this presentation. Let's spend 5-7 minutes more and see if I'll be able to resolve and help you the questions.
Yeah, so can you hear my voice now? Is it audible for
Absolutely.
you? Yeah, okay. So there are a couple of questions that people have asked during the presentation. I'll take all of them one by one. So the first question is by Ashish. He wants you to explain Rule 31A by way
So
of an example.
he wants me to.
Rule 31A by way of example. Rule 31A deals with
Okay.
gambling related
So
issues.
31A. So 31A, guys, rule 31A said with regard to gambling. So there are a lot of clauses in that. But just to tell you that, if I put a bet amount, so let us suppose you and me both are playing, and I put a bet amount of 100 rupees. You also put a bet amount of 100 rupees. Total 200 is collected. Then practically rule 31A says then the entire amount which is collected by a totalizer or the company who is arranging all this should pay GST on the gross amount. Whereas the GST provision or the idea of GST was to pay GST only on the value added part and not on the entire part.
Okay. The next question is by Pritesh. He is asking, is anyone aware what is the stand taken in the market
Guys, so
after?
everyone, guys, if you will put down whether if you are a consultant or you belong to a particular company, it will be much easier because these are very very fact based questions. How facts will also play in a lot of answers. But okay, let's continue, Sakshi.
Yeah, okay. So the next question is basically by Pritesh, and he wants to ask. Just a second. Yeah. So he was asking, what is the stand taken in the market after the Karnataka High Court decision?
Okay. So guys, first of all, please understand these high court rulings does have a very, very local jurisdiction. When I say local, I mean that state only. Outside that state is not relevant. A. B. You would not have probably read a document that CBIC has issued and written to every commissioner in the state way back in 2017-18, stating that wherever there is any problem with regard to a provision which has been, contested as ultra virus and held as ultra virus, immediately you are required to escalate it not to the GST policy wing only, but to the board also, because the board will take cognizance of that and will arrange special facilities to fight against those provisions. So till date, n number of rulings have been passed by High Court against the GST law per se, whether it was safari retreats in case of input tax credit, or it was availability of ITC or availability of education cess or anything. Immediately the department has gone into Supreme Court, and practically Supreme Court has stayed all these judgments practically. If Supreme Court has not done this, they have come up with a retrospective amendment from day one. So please understand, as a consultant, I'll advise you not to take any position based upon at least High Court ruling until and unless you are part of that judgment itself and you are ready to fight the case at least till Supreme Court. So then only you should enter into this venture. Otherwise, wait for the law to change on either side. Next question, Sakshi.
Yeah, okay. So, Davison Matthew Kutti is asking about revenue from YouTube basically. So he's asking revenue from YouTube in respect of advertisement share. Is the consideration really profit not chargeable to GST, or is it chargeable? And if chargeable, please share the reason why is it chargeable.
So I didn't get the question. So
So,
guys,
so basically, I think what he's trying to ask is, जो YouTube में, for example, you share a video,
hmm,
and you get a certain percentage of commission about the pay-per-click advertisement that you're talking about.
okay.
I think the question is about whether it's chargeable to GST or not, and if
So
it is,
guys,
then
please
what is it?
understand. So this has nothing to do with online gaming, but still the question being easy. I'll reply. So first of all, for anything to chargeable under GST, it has to be supply, whether it's supply or not. For supply, it has to be barter, trade, exchange, etc., etc. That it will fall. The point two that we have to see is whether it is in the course of business or commerce or not. If it is done in the course of business or commerce and there is a consideration, of course there is a consideration, YouTube is paying you something. So the only question that remains is whether it could be treated as business or commerce or not. In my mind, the moment I have, so for this, I have clicked a particular session, I have recorded a video session, and I want to earn as a businessman out of it. I put it on YouTube and earn it. Of course, there is a business angle to it. It will be put to charge. It will be chargeable to tax. Please note, in case of money coming from YouTube, you are not earning $1 million in a year. So your earnings would always be lower than that 10 lakh rupees or 20 lakh rupees per annum, which is a threshold limit under which you can claim an exemption. Next.
Okay. Yeah, okay. So Pritesh is asking another question. He's talking about the coins convertible to a service, or example, using stickers. So again, non-cash transactions basically. I think he's talking about the coins that are convertible to a service. You can avail this certain set of service
Okay.
in.
So what is the question?
I think he's asking regarding the taxability of these coins. Pritesh, can you please
Ritesh, you
elaborate
need to
that?
give me a lot of facts. Ritesh, I told you that, a lot of things will change with the way the agreements are drafted. I'm sure you cannot share the agreement with me, but at least those pointers, facts could be shared. Please share the facts. We'll come back to your question. Sakshi, next.
Yeah, just a second. Okay, so the next question, yeah, Pritesh Kivat. Okay, so Lavdeep Goyal is asking, purchase of online gaming app by Indian entity from foreign supplier, whether is it import of goods or import of service, and if it is import of goods, whether customs is leviable or not.
Purchase of.
Purchase of online gaming app by Indian entity. For example, if PUBG
So
is
Lavdeep,
being
Lavdeep,
purchased.
what I've understood is a lot of companies, what they are doing is, so these softwares are already developed by European companies, United Kingdom, or these Japanese, Australian companies. So those items are purchased or leased by Indian entities on the payment of a particular lease, which generally depends upon the revenue that I make. So a huge percentage of revenue is being sent out of India. I believe these are not goods. They are generally coming as a software online, and I suppose they are to be treated as softwares only. And this will be import of services, I believe. And in all the companies that I was dealing with, they are paying GST on the import of services under RCM only. I don't believe this is very well. The facts could be different, Lavdeep, in your case, but as of now, I believe this will be very difficult to categorize it as goods.
Okay. Anil is asking, since online gaming platforms are located outside India, so will it fall under import or export of services outside the ambit of GST? I think it's similar to the earlier question that
Yes.
Lavdeep asked. But yeah, I mean, I think this will also fall under RCM,
So
and this
guys,
is for
please understand. So these online gaming companies, the restrictions in India, the legal restrictions in India are very, very stringent. The state laws there, the center laws are there. It's not easy to have. So I don't know even a single website, playing these rummy or these cashed based games in India from outside. So if it is happening in your case, I need to go back to the drawing table and understand what are the facts and how things will move.
okay. So Geeta is asking, what are the consequences when the amount is not forfeited? Geeta, I think your question is not clear. Can you please reframe this question and ask again? I'll take up the next question because I don't think.
Sakshi, can we take guys? Let us take question for next 5 minutes only, and then
I
probably
think
if you still have questions, you can write down to Sakshi or me, and we will give you a reply for sure.
I think sir, we have around 7, 8 more questions right now.
So let's do it fast. We have 4 minutes to go.
Okay, cool. So Aman is asking, companies give bonus tokens only for playing games. So taxable value of platform fee will be net of this bonus amount.
So yeah, I think guys you didn't understand. So can you repeat the question?
Yeah, so Aman's asking, companies give bonus tokens only for playing games. So
So
taxable.
Aman, tell me one thing. So a company has given you a bonus. You have played a game and you have won the game. Let's assume you have won the game. 100 rupees, 100 points you have in your wallet. You have won the game. and 100 rupees you have betted, 100 rupees other have betted, now you have 200 points. 200 rupees. So these are not fictitious points. I suppose you are not asking about the games where you will not get money. I suppose after this bonus game is played, you get money. If the answer to this is yes, then I will answer your question. If the answer to this is no, meaning thereby it is only a fictitious game that we have purchased, that we have made. You get an online bonus points. You keep on playing out of the bonus, and the bonus are never redeemable in cash. It's like a game, it's like a software game. If that is the case, then there of course has to be no GST because there is no consideration involved, right? If it is convertible into cash, then only the point of consideration will come, and then I'll answer this question. Please rewrite with full facts.
Okay. Sir, Soumya is asking, sir, what about games available on Google Play Store? What is the GST implication of those?
So Soumya, please think of it as a very simple thing whereby I have a software, I sell you the software, I get some money. Will it be chargeable to GST? Answer is yes. Similarly, if I have my software listed on a Google Play Store or on a particular platform, you buy that software from that platform and pay the money to me, I have to pay GST. If you buy that software from that platform, for example, Amazon, which is a e-commerce operator, then that provision of TCS will be applicable. But yes, of course, it will be chargeable to GST. If the software is available free of cost to you, just there are a lot of free softwares available for which nothing is paid. There is no consideration, no GST.
Okay. Anubhav is asking what happened when token. So you wanted to answer Anubhav's question. His
Sure.
question was, what happens when token given as bonus and user plays and wins cash, and then that cash is being forfeited on account of non-playing? Is GST still leviable?
Okay. So just say the question again.
Okay, so he's saying, for once, he's played a game and he's won tokens, and he's been given a bonus also, and then user plays and wins cash, and
Yes.
then that
Out of
cash is
that cash, I have retained that fees, platform fees. Anubhav, if your question is that you have 100 bonus points, you have played those bonus points, and after that bonus point is converted into cash, a 10% fees is deducted from that amount. Will it be put to tax or not? If this is your question, I have already answered in my presentation that it will be put to tax. There is no doubt about it, because yeah, as per contract act, the the title of those points has changed from the company to the player. And B, is there a way? So we were discussing, Anubhav, you would have may have missed. We're discussing, can GST be saved on this? Absolutely, I believe that GST can be saved on this, but uh, the advisor, the legal consultant, and the owner of the company probably have to sit together and draft the agreement in such a manner that the platform fees is not charged at all. Although it is charged, but still it is not charged. In some way, it has to be removed from the picture, and the consideration part has to be reduced to zero. If this can, I believe this can happen. I have not done this, so if you ask me to share the agreement, I cannot. But we three have to sit together. Next.
uh yeah. So Atul is asking, is server used for online gaming platform is outside India, and payment is being made from India, will RCM apply, treating as importer service, and whether GST registration is mandatory irrespective of the turnover? I think the second question is very
So
basic.
guys, I need more facts around this. And the moment you, so Atul, so the moment you start, playing with this, that the servers are out, the servers are in India, and try to tell me that this could be somewhere import, I lose a lot of interest, because this is per se not permitted as per Indian laws. So if you actually want to just write me an email, me or Sakshi an email giving full facts, I will absolutely happy to share my take on the same. Uh,
Okay. Next question I'll
Perfect.
put you.
Sakshi, let's
Ashish.
take this last question, right? Let's take this
Okay.
last
Okay.
question.
Sure.
So
Sure.
anyone else you have a question, we'll be happy to reply. Just send Just send us an email and we'll reply.
I think, sir, I'll send you the list of the questions that are there,
That are
and
not resolved, please.
that
Only
yeah,
those are,
that is
that
not
are
resolved, and I'll send you the
perfect.
email links also. So
We'll
that is the
reply
last.
each one of them.
Yeah, perfectly fine. Okay, so the last question for today is Ashish is asking, is server okay? This I've asked. So, Soumya is asking, can you elaborate on OIDAR and online gaming? Madam, I think she wants a differentiation per se.
So OIDR, Sakshi, is more towards, a Facebook sitting outside India,
Yeah.
and you are going onto the Facebook and using the advertising services and paying Facebook certain amount. This becomes, so Facebook becomes an OIDR services where a person outside India has a website or through a digital channel in a very, very automated manner is selling some services in India. So this is an OIDR whereby the taxation is B2B. If it is B2B, it is on RCM basis. If it is B2C, then that OIDR, if Facebook in this case, needs to take a registration in India on the basis of an authorized registration and pay GST on the same.
So, for example, I want to add a question here. For
Mhm.
example, there are these services called Netflix, and they're providing B2C work, and
Yes,
they have a platform registered outside India. So,
yes.
I
So
think
they
they also
need, so
form
I'll tell
part.
you, so in India, as on date, around 163 people are registered in this manner, like Netflix, Amazon Prime, and these online content distribution companies, whereby if they give their services to a registered entity, that registered entity needs to pay tax on RCM basis. For example, in case of Facebook, I'll tell you, Facebook used to bill from Ireland earlier, whereby B2B people need to pay taxes on RCM basis. Whereas in case of, this happened only in the case of first 2 years, Facebook was billing from Ireland, I suppose. In case of B2C companies, the taxes are paid by these companies and they take a very, very specific registration in India. And to my mind, as a few months back, there were around 160 people who were registered in this manner in India. So they pick up a authorized person, maybe a consultant or their own, because they don't have a presence in India, and show his home or small office as a registered premises, and they keep on delivering their services.
So you basically telling me, for example, Netflix is
Netflix.
not B2B, it's B2C per se.
Yes.
So
Yes.
they have a registered office in India for GST.
Yes, they have a. So Netflix is a registered entity. This
Oh,
is what one of the government documents is available with me. I can share the same with now. Not only Netflix, but I suppose Amazon Prime and various other streaming companies also are registered in India. Total around 160 companies are registered.
okay. I think if this is the last question you want to take, there were a couple of more questions. I think I'll email them to you, and you can
Perfect.
personally ask them.
So we promise to reply every one of you in due course of time.
Yeah, I think, but there are a lot of questions actually. So
So that is why I said due course of time.
yeah, I'll definitely email, and
Sure.
if at all, guys, you have any more questions, you can drop a mail at my email ID. I'm dropping my email ID here. Or, sir, I think you can drop your email ID as well so that they can reach out to you directly. And presentation, sir, I think we can push the
Presentation, guys,
presentation.
will be sent you before tomorrow. By tomorrow.
Okay. I'll be sending you mails. So I think all of you guys who attended the webinar will be getting the presentation over email. I'll be sending it to you personally, and in case you don't receive it by tomorrow, you can definitely drop a mail. Drop a mail
Either
to
of
us.
us. Either of us.
Yeah,
Yes.
either of
Will
us,
be
and we
shared.
have our mails written down in the chat box, so you can
Perfect,
have them.
guys.
Sure. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for such an informative session.
Thank you,
Uh,
Sakshi, and we are sorry to all the people that for 5 or 10 minutes it has to break down. But thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Okay. I think we can close the session. I think
Yep.
a lot of people are
Okay.
waiting.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you so much, everyone.